Lesson 111, solving problems involving permutations. So first we're going to start with what the fundamental counting principle says. So the fundamental counting principle. Okay, it says, if an independent event M can occur in little m ways, and another independent event, capital N, can occur in little n ways, then the number of ways that both events can occur is little m times little m, n. Okay, so it just says this. If you have two independent events, the number of ways they can be combined. So we can figure out how many outcomes we would have by multiplying is m times n. So let's do an example. If you had 3 entrees, that's just like a meal, and we had 4 sides, how many different meals could you make with 1 entree and 1 side? How many meals? And in order to use, we could use the fundamental counting principle for this, and we could do 3 times 4. So we could make a total of 12 meals. If you were to make a tree diagram, you would have the 3 different entrees, and then with each entree you could do one of the 4 sides. So that's how we get the 12 different entrees. Now, if order matters, we can use permutations. Now let's see here. Permutations. Oh, we're going to talk about factorial first. Sorry. So, factorial is, we use like the exclamation mark. It looks like that. So it's just, if we have n factorial, where n's a number, that equals n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times all the way down to 2 times 1. Now, if we have 0 factorial, we automatically define that to be 1. So here's, for example, 5 factorial equals 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So if we had, let's say we had 6 students and we wanted to put them in a line. So here's an example, 6 students in a line. How many different ways could we put them in that line? Well, the person to get in the first position, we have 6 different that we can choose, 6 students we could choose from. For the second spot, we have 5 different students we could choose from. For the third spot, we have 4, and so on. So the way we would figure that out is we would do 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6 factorial. And that equals 720 different ways that we could line up 6 students. Now, when order is important, so let's say that we have first, second, and third. So we're in the Olympics, and that we have a first, second, and third place. And let's say there's like 8 people competing. Order matters because the first place person gets first. So let's see, if you choose 3 people, the order matters if they're going to be in first, second, or third. So we use permutations, and you use that when order matters. And the permutations is just you take P of n objects chosen r at a time. So in our example, if we had 8 contestants and we were choosing 3 at a time, we do our n factorial, and then we have to divide by n minus r quantity factorial. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, let's see how we can do this. Here's an example. 8 people are competing in the 100-meter dash. In how many ways can the runners finish in 1st through 8th place? So 8 people in a race. How many ways can they finish in 1st through 8th place? So we're going to do the permutation of 8 choose 8, which is just 8 factorial over 8 minus 8, or 0 factorial, which is just 1. So let me get out my calculator here and figure out 8 factorial. $40,320 ways. How many ways can the 8 runners win a medal? And that means win in the first 3 positions. So we're going to do the permutations of 8 choose 3. So we have an 8 factorial divided by 8 minus 3 factorial. So that's 8 factorial divided by 5 factorial. Now 8 factorial is just 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 factorial, because 5 factorial is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we can cancel these out, and we just have to do 8 times 7 times 6, and we get 336 ways that we can get 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. And that's the end of the lesson.